Hello and welcome everyone to Keeping Up With Conspicuous. We've got the amazing legend that is Mary Myers, 3 times MVP, and very well known across the channel. Hi Mary, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I think I may be 4 time now, just to be technical. I don't know. I could be wrong though.
Sorry, 4 time, 4 time.
I don't know that I'm right either
Brilliant.
though.
Oh, well,
So
so we're going to talk today about obviously Mary and her journey in WorldMax. We're going to talk a lot about Power Platform and Business Central, and everything that Mary does. So hopefully we've got some people watching who are, perhaps Business Central end users who are looking to get some insight on, what Mary can offer you as a service, what's going on with Power Platform at the moment with Business Central. So, yes, Mary, I'll let you introduce yourself and talk us through a little bit about what you do and how you help customers.
thanks, Alex. Hello, everyone. Mary Myers, for everyone that I don't know or haven't virtually at least met yet. I am the chief maximizer here at WorldMax. We specialize in maximizing Business Central with the
Mm.
Power Platform, really just trying to help people work smarter, not harder, is our marketing fluff there, I guess I'll say.
Exactly.
I've been in the dynamic space since 2018. Prior to that, I was a super end user in F&O and then transitioned into Business Central. And, I always say I went to an app in a day class and it absolutely changed my life. I obviously immediately saw how when I was an end user, right? So again, prior to being in tech, I did accounts payable, accounts receivable, I did sales tax, I did purchasing, I did, kind of all these different roles and always had a bunch of stuff. And when I saw the Power Platform, I immediately saw, oh gosh, this is how we can really, make people's day-to-day jobs easier. So I've been really super focused on, or I guess super obsessed with that ever since. So yeah.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. And tell us a little bit about your journey, because obviously you did F&O, didn't you? And did Business Central. I
Mhm.
think looking at your
Yeah.
background, and then decided on Business Central, and I guess tell us a little bit about that journey of where you saw gaps or
Got
potentials that customers were
it.
perhaps missing out on that you thought I must, there's a solution here that I could offer.
Yeah, so for me, it was a couple different things, right? So one, as an F&O user, super user, and then started off that as an accounting side. And I'm gonna be honest, it was so fun every day to make up new curse words to, really emphasize how I felt about F&O that particular day. I would have to say my favorite product. But I love accounting, I love business, right? So when Business Central, I came into the scene in 2018, right? And that was really the same time that Business Central came into it. And so the
Mm,
partner that I was working with at the time, just like every other partner out there, was like, hey, can you learn Business Central? And I'm like, sure. I mean, here's the thing. I'm an accounting, I've got my background and my degree in business management and accounting. I've got part of my master's degree in ERP management. So I'm thinking I can figure out this Business Central thing, right? And
mm,
I come from a background of a lot of small businesses. So I've worked with QuickBooks in several different companies and growing up my mom actually ran her own company, and so I was keying in sales orders to QuickBooks when I was 13, right? So I think that that's honestly why I have a love for Business Central. Is it just is finally what small businesses need, and not even small businesses, small and big businesses, right? And so I am just obsessed with the product of Business Central because it's so much better than QuickBooks, and I think the opportunities that it provides to organizations is immaculate. So that's really kind of why I became obsessed with that product. Also, it's just honestly it's a lot easier to access, right? Even from an end user perspective and from a consultant perspective, it's really easy for me to get a demo or a trial instance of Business Central for me to be able to spin up and do different things. I think it's gotten a little bit a little bit easier for F&O, but like you can't get like a demo environment of F&O either, right? So it makes it really hard to get really good at that or to like really focus at it, in my opinion. Or it can be, right? So I would say those are some of the reasons that one, I'm like super obsessed. I always say like my rosy colored glasses, but I don't, they're brown today. That I love Business Central. And then, like I said, with that, I ran into the Power Platform, and I kind of started both of those like right at the same time. And I saw this lovely thing that is the Business Central connector in the Power Platform. So then I was like, oh, what, and so for me, when I was like self-learning Business Central, I would take all of the different scenarios that I ran into when I was running different businesses, accounting procedures, purchasing procedures, sales order procedures, right? And in that, I'd be like, oh my gosh, this process that totally sucked. What if I could take the Power Platform and automate that, right? And so that's kind of how I started. I literally would just build Power Platform solutions for Business Central for like fun. I'm like, Friday night, let's see what flows I can build, right? Like I'm really cool like that. And I think that that's just kind of how this monster came to be. And I was, Business Central consultant for some really great companies. And I just needed this drive. I started doing Power Platform work on the side, right? And my companies knew about that, and they were good with that. They supported that. And it came to be to a point where there was such a need, and the growth had grown so much in the Power Platform side for Business Central. I was building flows and apps enough to where it said now's the time to make the move. And that's when I went from part-time WorldMax to full-time WorldMax. So it's been a fun little journey.
Oh, cool. Amazing. Well, that's brilliant. And that's it's so great that you saw right at the start of the wave, weren't you? The kind of Business Central and Power Platform wave. So that's fantastic. And there's been so much changes in the system, in the product, and it's selling so well still. And I think it's, as you say, it's so good for customers. The customers are loving it. The Power Platform now could do so much with it. And that's great. And so how does it work then? I mean, so do customers, they come to you and they say, I have I've got an idea, or I've got something that I think could work. And then do you already have apps built for them? Or do you say that's something I can build in the Power Platform? Or how does that kind of process work with customers approaching you?
Yeah, gosh, that's what I love about the platform is like there's so many possibilities. My answer is yes to that, right? So and what that so like a customer will come to me, right? And they may know exactly what they want, right? And so in that scenario, I may have a template of something that I've built very similar to that before, right? Because while customers are very special and very, very unique, some of our processes do tend to be similar. So we have that economies of scale that they can take advantage of, right? If there's something that has been built similar to that. So we may do that, or, they may tell me exactly what they want, and then I'll build something from scratch, right, for them. Often, especially right now, what we've seen more and more is that customers, they actually don't know what they want or what they need. They just know that they have been tasked with automation. They're tired of the manual processes. They've heard, about the Power Platform, and they have automation goals for 2025, but they're not really sure what to do with that, right? So for those clients, we just schedule them on automation audit, right? And we send them like a questionnaire, because we've been doing this for quite some time now, right? To say, just looking at a couple different things. And then I look at the questionnaire, and it's looking at, what are their bottlenecks? It's just trying to get an assessment, right, of where they currently stand in their day-to-day business processes. And then we jump on a call to dive into those, areas a little bit deeper. And through that, I'm able to, find usually like different opportunities for them. And we basically prioritize. Look, this is the thing that is your biggest bottleneck. If we just clear this out, this will, you know what I mean, open up all these other opportunities for you. And, you know, this is how you would do that, right? And I'll kind of give them some framework. You know, I recommend that you automate this process. These are some things that you would need to do to automate that. And then at that point, like they can choose to, you know, do that do by themselves, or they can choose, you know, to work with us, or honestly any other power platform provider. We're not necessarily here to hold people captive. We believe that our experience and reputation will speak for itself. But yeah, that's really one of the biggest ways that we're helping customers right now, is helping them identify what it is that they need to automate and prioritize those. And then
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that's great, isn't it? Yeah, and then do you? And I'm guessing, is it all sorts of industries? Is it every sort of company that could possibly ever exist, or do you focus on particular areas, or is it any company looking to automate then?
Yeah, you know, I honestly sometimes feel quite insecure whenever I get this question, because I feel like I'm answering like it's like this ambiguous like sales question. I'm like, we help everyone. Um, But I will say, like, I haven't found a situation yet, right? Because to me, it's really about identifying what that process is to them. A lot of times, like, what those like roadblockers are. I mean, of course, sometimes there's going to be some more like industry specific scenarios. But at the end of the day, sales order processing is sales order processing. Tell me about what's in your day-to-day process, right? That is causing the block. And a lot of times it may or may not have anything to do with the fact that you're in an oil industry, or you're, you know, maybe in the restaurant industry. You're going to you may still have a sales order issue, right? But we're going to identify what is that blocking point. And so what I find a lot of times is that blocking point is not necessarily industry specific, right? It's like cultural, it's organizational specific. So we identify what those blocking points are, and maybe it's this Excel sheet. Really, at the end of the day, this Excel sheet is being manually output in, you know what I mean, input to the system. And that's taken a really long time. And if that part was just automated, and there's current limitations that says that makes us manually do that. But if we just, you know, put that Excel spreadsheet in there, then it would be better, and we would automate that process. You know, that's really what we kind of like get down to. And so at this point, we have not found, you know, something that's like industry specific that we're like not, you know, comfortable with. A lot of times, you know, we'll be working with like Business Central specifically, right? This is kind of Business Central too. It's like Business Central can be, is like the power platform. It can be whatever it needs to be for customers, right? It's how much of Business Central you natively using. Like I'm working with a big implementation for Business Central right now. And Business Central is not the source of truth. There's another product in there. There's like a warehouse management system, right? That's there. And it's this huge company. And they're just using Business Central for like a lot of financials and reports. And we've got some like automations like built in that, right? And now none of the processes and things that we're looking at are industry specific. In this scenario, that's all being handled in that third party system that's, you know what I mean, kind of being implemented by somebody else. So that's kind of, you know, why I haven't found something to be industry specific yet, you know, where I'm like, no, we really focus on these areas. I mean, there's, you know, parts that we've, you know, covered more. We've done like a lot of biomedical, construction, you know, finance teams, like those types of things. I think that there's more teams or departments that we help with more, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of this interesting component is really what it comes down to. We definitely say no if we're not comfortable. But yeah, you know, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, well, that's the cool thing about it, isn't it? Is there's no kind of no limitations, is there? You know, if someone wants to ask you to, you know, build something, it's very likely that you could do it. You know, and that's a pretty cool thing for a technology to be able to do.
Yeah, basically, if it has an API, we can integrate, you know what I mean, with it, whether it be in the Power Platform or integrate Business Central with it. But I will say, can and should, not the same word, right? Two totally different concepts. But you know, can you do something? Yes. Can we build and integrate with just about everything? Yes. Should you? Maybe not, right?
Oh yes, yeah, that's true. That is true. I mean, and tell me, I mean, there's lots of things going on with obviously AI and CoPilot, and are you getting an increasing amount of requests? I think there's some confusion there around sort of AI and automation. You know, I think I've seen that a lot recently, and I think there's probably a yeah, I get the feeling that a lot of people think AI automation is AI, you know, and they're sort of merging together, which I
Mhm.
find is a bit just not quite like the understanding's just gone a bit. So I don't know, you finding that as well that like people are thinking all automation is AI and all AI is automation, and it's just all feels like it's all become one big sort of hot
Yeah.
mess of everyone just like trying to work out what it is.
For sure. For sure. And there's kind of like there's like a Venn diagram in there as well, right? And I think, right, that's why I'm like, right now we're really just trying to help customers identify what they need to automate because they're like, oh, I'm supposed to use
Mm,
AI. And I think a lot of things too, right? So if we look at like the history of technology over like the last couple years, 4 or 5, years, um, prior to Copilot and AI being shoved down our throats, it was the Power Platform, right? And so it's
mm,
automation, digital transformation, automation, right? And so people didn't maybe necessarily catch on with that for the last, let's say, 6 years, or we'll call it 5 years and say that we started getting Copilot shoved down our throats like last year, right? So with that, like if you didn't catch up, if you didn't jump on that bandwagon then, right?
mhm,
And now we have another wave. And this AI wave, I mean, nobody's going to argue that the talk about it, right, is even louder and more expansive than the Power Platform conversation was, right? So if you didn't jump on wave
mm,
two, right, and now you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't jump on wave two, that's probably been
mm.
weighing heavy on you, right? And now there's AI, you're like, oh God, I got to get on, I got to get
Yeah.
on. It's the first one. We can't miss the second one. Like this is the persona that a lot of people like come to. And so that's exactly what you're saying, right? They're like, I need automation, I need AI. I don't know, just give me something before somebody gets mad at me, right? And so with that, we're taking a lot of things being like, are we ready, right? For these different things? Because I would say, kind of crawl, walk, run. And
Mm,
data structure is going to be crawling. Is your data even ready? Because you can't use AI for anything. If you don't have data, we don't have anything to ground it
mm,
from, right? Like where do you want the Copilot? Like where do you want AI to source from? From your internal data if you
mm,
don't have any internal data, right? Like that doesn't work. So first we talk about like data readiness, right? And making sure that we're good there. Then a lot of times it's kind of like the automation. We make our data better through automation, right? And then we're
mm.
ready for AI. But we've also seen some really cool things, right? That's kind of like one conversation that we have with our
Mm,
clients around that. But some other really cool conversations that we've seen being happening is like, okay, cool, like board ready. I have this one client now. I love the fact that they're still on prem, right? So they're on a legacy system. They know that in the
mm,
future they're going to be moving to on cloud, or the cloud for Business Central. But they need some AP automation right now, right? And they don't really have a way to like land it to where it would be like really feasible for them going into the future. They're also like, hey, we'd really be curious to see how we can use some like AI, more in our system. And we've already done a ton of Power Platform work for this company, right? We've done some great
mm.
integrations. They've already seen absolute like life changing, company improvements with the Power Platform. So they're like, you got any more of that Power Platform stuff, right? What else can it do for us, right? And I'm like, well, we have these new AI models. And so what's really cool is right now we're doing a process for them where we're going to OCR their invoices. And there's a lot of really great AP automation products out there. And I'm not saying like, oh, everyone should just skip to this one. It's just saying like there's options out there, right? And so for this particular client, we're going to do this for them and we're going to train like the AI model. And honestly, we're just sending it to we're sending it to Dataverse because this allows part of their team to kind of vet it out, change management, right? See, because they're a huge company. And so it allows a small team that's really excited about using AI and seeing like what else that they can do for it, right? In a small concept. And then plus, whenever they get ready to move to Business Central, like later on, it's just like a small, like little switch of where, that process is going to happen. So that's a cool concept that we've seen with AI. Also, a conversation that I love. Sorry, I was just talking about this stuff forever. Is taking to say, okay, what is Power Automate not great at, or what is some of the things specifically I'm looking at right now, specific use cases where like I love Power Automate, but what is it not great at, and what can AI help? Right? How can we actually take both of these together and make it even better? So sorting, grouping, that type of stuff is like the bane of my existence. And Power Automate, right? It reminds me of like my F&O days of where I want to just make up new curse words. It's just not great at the sorting and slicing and dicing on super, super complex levels. And that's a lot of what we need sometimes with our like different integration components. But you can actually just go create and train an AI model, right? Because what does CoPilot do really, really well? Sorting, grouping, right? You're like, here's a table, here's a very specific thing that I need you to do. So please go sort all of that and then give me this table in a perfect JSON format that I actually need, right? And that's like a two-step flow. That's saving them so much more time, right? Or like let's look at doing like that type of concept. So that's some cool ways that we've been talking about using AI in the Power Platform and making sure that we're ready for it.
That's amazing. I think it's really interesting that there's a company, I haven't heard of that before, an on-prem company already kind of planning it all the way, going really thinking ahead. And I guess you're really helping them with that as well, which is great. So they're like, that's an amazing thing for an on-prem nav company to be thinking about. When we move to Business Central, we're going to be ready for CoPilot straight away. That's cool. That's really cool.
I think that this is like the structure, right, of a lot of organizations, honestly, right? Because like they are a multi like global regional. I don't know the right technical business word to sound smart right now there, right? But they've got companies all across the globe. And so some of their companies are in the cloud and some of their companies are legacy still, right? And so as an entire global organization, right? They're kind of all on their own journeys. But that's why I always say that like the Power Platform is really beneficial at helping those companies, right? As they're on their legacy systems, you know what I mean? In moving to Business Central, those implementations can take a really long time, but like Power Platform can kind of help, make some of those processes less painful, like in this scenario, right? Like they're like, knowing we're going to go there. We're here on this company, but we're eventually going to get there. So why stay here? Let's move forward.
Yeah, it's really interesting what's going on there, and I think it's I always think as well how I guess, do you have to assess at the start if there's sort of a lot of human error, and a lot of because I always think if someone came in and looked at our data, they'd probably just tell us that we're all not inputting data properly, and therefore, someone trying to run a system would be useless anyway, because we're recruiters are bad at admin, and that's what salespeople are like, so they'd never do any proper work on the admin side, and so I guess do you sort of assess gaps in kind of I guess, human error on kind of databases and data as well when you do that conversation.
And the thing is too, because I sat so much on the other side of things, right? Like I am just a weird person, I think, in some ways too. But like as an end user, I was always like just doing a whole bunch of different things. And it didn't matter what type of end user I was, right? But it's just kind of like sitting in that different role. And what I know without a doubt is people are doing the things the way that they are doing them for a reason. It's not because they're bad at their job, right? There's a reason. Maybe their data entry, right, is wrong. But there's a reason that they're doing that, right? And that's like when my discovery process, I really like to figure out, to your point, I don't know that I call it human error. I just want to understand like what makes somebody's job suck, right? Because I would think that that's really where like the error comes in, or like how, like what are the challenges in their job and making that easier. Because when I hear that, right, data entry, I'm like, no, you just need a better way to get that data entry in. The data entry process for your team currently is too hard, too cumbersome. You know what I mean? We need to see like what are the key fields that you need, where your users at, and find a way to facilitate that process to be easier.
Yeah. Well, I need to get you involved, Mary.
Yeah.
That's
That's one of my passions.
But yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, there's always so much. That's sort of yeah, it's that initial sort of discovery, isn't it? It's so important because there's a lot to assess, and then work out the kind of pain points, and then solve from there. So that's fantastic. Okay, great. And what do you think? I mean, because we've come to the end of 2024. We had the year of, I suppose, like you say, AI and CoPilot being shoved down our throats. So we're entering a new year coming up. So what do you think the future looks like for Power Platform and Power Platform with Business Central, into 2025? What do you think is going to change, or is it all going to carry on as it is? What are you seeing emerging?
What do I see emerging? I see autonomous agents being the end all be all. I don't know, end all be all. That's quite extreme to say. But I do definitely think that autonomous agents are going to be the accelerated buzzword, right? That I'll call it for 2025. We're seeing that, right? We're seeing that at Ignite. We're seeing that in these events that just came out. That's that sales order agent. That's an autonomous agent, right? There are these concepts of taking CoPilot, right? CoPilot is AI, and like CoPilot Studio is an AI chatbot, right? And so normally it's these conversations, but now these agents is kind of taking, and it's incorporating the Power Platform, right? Because like an AI chat bot is going to kind of talk back and forth to us. But now we're going to take these actions and these skills to say, okay, cool. You told me that like you think that this is what this budget amount should be, or whatever this adjustment should be. Go ahead and make that adjustment in Business Central as well. Right? Or you see that this order is coming in, or like this is the previous like history of them, give me that insight and create that sales order header too, right? So it's like kind of really, really taking that automation side to like the next level. That's really what I see a lot of being on the wave in 2025. I think that Microsoft is going to continue to put funding into that, right? I mean, they're really excited. And I would say, like, a note to anyone listening to this show right now, maybe we'll get a link in. I'll find a link to like attach to this.
Yeah.
But right now, if you're in the US and you're using Business Central, like Microsoft wants to hear from you. They want you to try the new sales order agent. They want feedback so that can, keep getting better. And they want to hear it from like the customers, right? They've done tons and tons of testing themselves, but they want more testing. So that's when I'm like, where do I think that like, the money's going to go? More of that, right? Why are they asking for all of this if we can't provide that for them? So I think that that's going to come. And then it's also a really great opportunity for partners and ISVs to specialize, because Microsoft is going to have like their base co-pilots, right, and those agents. But this is a way for us to really, specialize and say, hey, I'm going to do, an agent that does this. There's Central IQ. I hope I'm going to say this right now, right? But he's taken like this CoPilot agent, basically like CoPilot, and made it like this really amazing resource for people to use for Business Central, to understand Business Central, right? So I think that that's where we're going to see the trends go, is just more automation, more co-pilots, and kind of really merging those together to say, let's have the AI not only like give us the information, but like take the action for us as well.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Wow. Exciting times ahead then. That's yeah. I mean, you're seeing so much. Yeah, so much change, isn't there? So much money flowing into it, but it's going to be incredible. We were having a talk the other day, and someone was about autonomous agents as well. So I think that is where it's going to go. Someone actually said, make a clone of yourself, and then someone started describing me and said, "I'll put you're a farmer and that you like rugby," and I was, well, okay. gonna have to,
Are you a farmer?
I don't know what that's gonna do.
I don't see farmer.
Reach out to people that I mean, I'm a fake farmer. I do have a small amount of land. I'm not a real farmer, but I'm a fake farmer. I've got a few acres and a few. We've got horses and a few cats and dogs and things. So, but yeah, we're small
Are you, like,
holdings.
milking the
Not a
cows in the
farmer.
morning? Like, are you up at, like, 4 and, like, got the chickens and stuff?
Oh, not quite at that level yet. Give me a few years. No,
Hashtag
not
retired.
quite, not quite. I'm not quite there yet. I need to get some sheep and then I'll be away.
Very good. Well, yeah, fair enough. Like,
So, but yeah,
respectfully,
no, that's
you
great.
do have a
That's a
few
terrible. Got
animals at
one
home.
final.
They're 2 and 4, right?
Yeah, I've got some. So we've got a few horses. Yeah, so they've got a little pony. They've got a little pony
Oh,
called Molly that they ride around on and absolutely love. So they're very, very obsessed with her at the moment. They lead her in from the field and ride her and all that kind of thing. They love it, and they're out in all weathers. So they're absolutely they're out in the freezing cold in their overalls, and they're obsessed with horses. So yeah, I've got to keep
very
working till about 100 probably. So that'll be all right.
horses are expensive, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's great. We've got one final question, because it's been brilliant. Yeah, it's really good, and I hope everyone listening is really taking all the things. There's a lot of amazing info there, and we'll put the link in, like Mary says, because any feedback provided is really good. So that Microsoft can make improvements. And one final question, and I think I know the answer to this, given that I know you, is but if you weren't a Power Platform Business Central expert, what
Mhm.
what would you be doing? What would your job be?
What would I think that I would actually just do some type of, like, nonprofit work or, like, some type of volunteer work, probably, like, women in technology or, like, some just type of, like, shelter work, just some type of and I know that's not what you thought. You thought I was gonna
Oh,
say, like, a pro golfer or something to that extent, right?
I did. I did. You got me. Yeah, that's what I
I
thought.
know. Yeah, no, I have a huge passion for just kind of like helping others, and honestly, that's part of how everything like kind of came to be. When I was unemployed, I lost my job during COVID, right? That was one thing that I did is I went out and I literally went to a women's shelter and I was like, how can I help? But it's just it doesn't pay the bills, but, like, if I had an
Oh,
infinite
cool.
amount of money, that's what I would do. I would just go around to, like, just different shelters and help people.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, yeah, no, that's great. Oh, I love that. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, well, thank you very much for joining us, Mary. It's been really, really good. And I do apologize for any sort of lag on my side, but yeah, really, really fantastic conversation, and hopefully we'll catch up in. I don't know when our next. I think I might go to Dynamics Con in Chicago. I
Are
assume you'll
you
be
in
there.
so where in the UK are
You
you
going to that one in May?
officially? Yeah,
Well,
it's
so
in
I'm just outside of London, about an hour outside of London.
I will be in London in about 3 weeks, so maybe we'll have a little catch up.
Ooh, oh,
Mhm.
cool. Okay. Oh, that sounds good. Oh, brilliant. Oh, are
Yeah,
you spending Christmas here then?
I am.
Oh,
My
are
son and
you?
I are going to spend London we're gonna go to London and Paris for Christmas this year.
Oh, amazing. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. Well, have a great Christmas then. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, maybe if you've got time, then let's meet up. So,
yeah.
fantastic. Oh, have a great, and that'd be amazing. Enjoy London and Paris, and and yeah, well, hopefully we'll see you over Christmas and New Year then.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you one way or another, right?
Brilliant.
Either now or in next year, but we'll catch up with
Yeah.
you soon. Thank you so much for having me. This was such a pleasure.
Yeah.
Always
So,
it's great chatting with you.
yeah, no, thanks, Ray. It's great to speak with you. And yeah, anyone listening, we'll put a few links in, and we'll make sure you can reach out to Mary if you've got any further questions.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. See you later. Thank you very
Thanks.
much.